Hey Killjoys, I hope you're all having an amazing day. A couple of days ago, I was asked if I could make a video explaining my process of designing characters and especially my Fursona. So let's get right to it. If I don't already have an idea in mind, usually I make a Pinterest, whether it be the vibes for the story or the vibes for the character in terms of fashion. I also like to make a Spotify playlist, either, like I said, for the character or just for their general story. That way I'm able to integrate my own ideas through the music. I like trying to get a feel for who the character is, whether it be their story, fashion, their aesthetics, the color schemes, anything I can. I try to get a visual aid for it. Although for this particular character, she was a pre-made. Shocking, I know, but I still have ways to make her similar to me. So I gave her a body type that's similar to my own, and I picked a theme for her overall story, her aesthetics, and everything else like I mentioned. So yes, the head wasn't made by me, but I gave her inspiration with J fashion, with the scene culture, and I basically inserted her into the early 2000s. That way, I have a story for her, I have what she wears, what she enjoys, and everything else now. In terms of the art, I drew her before, but I wanted to make a reference sheet for her. So I used the same proportions as I have previously, but I had to use the symmetry tool to make sure that everything was correct, and I did struggle with the body a couple times, but don't give up, just try what you can, and continue working. And then when it comes to a reference sheet, it's very tempting, but make sure that you don't shade like crazy. Just use limited base colors, so that way if someone needs to color pick, if you don't have your colors on the side, it's not extremely difficult. I would suggest doing a front and back, just in case there's any details behind, like the hair or something like that. And then a side profile if it's needed. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you can just infer, but I like doing that. Then I add any accessories, her name, her colors, and I try to make it all cutesy. Usually I do this process for every character that I have, including my main girl, Arlette, the one that I used for my animation. But otherwise, it really doesn't matter. You can use any process that you like, but this is just what I do. And I feel connected with Killjoy because I love cats, I love the early 2000s, and I just made my nostalgia a big part of her story. Now, if you want to make a more fun reference sheet, I also make these. So I put her in a pose that I like, and I just basically copied the proportions from what I usually use. And this one I add shading and highlight, which I enjoy a lot more. I did use some inspiration for the format, so shout out to VampKitty2001 on Instagram. Thank you for that. But generally, I tried to make it my own. I used the dislikes and likes as little like pop-up things because she's inspired by the internet. I added her partner on the bottom, and then I added some things that she likes, like her trolleys and catnip and stuff like that. Just make your character your own, and that's all that matters. Bye, Killjoys!